Scientists. What are they? What do they do? Who cares? Good point. Why do we care? There are many reasons, but I have two goals for you in this class. Solve problems and win. When faced with a problem, I want to equip you with the strategy, the process, to find answers to that problem, and also to win the argument against the haters. You know what I'm talking about. You just know that you are right, but they just keep on refusing to listen. If I am successful in my goal, I can't promise that you'll always win, but you'll win more often because you will know how to organize your argument, your solution, in a way that will be very difficult for someone who doesn't use the scientific process to defeat you.
Let's do this right now.
Okay, so in this class, whenever we're doing an investigation, a lab, or other similar type of activity, there will be 8 stages that we'll be going through. These 8 stages are very similar to what real professional scientists do. And that's one of the goals, is to think and act like a scientist. Because again, that is how you will solve problems and win. So the first stage is to identify the task and your question. I'll be calling it the guiding question, but you need to know what question you're trying to answer. This might seem kind of a duh stage, but the reason it is worth mentioning is because if you aren't clear on what the question is, again, the guiding question, you won't know what to focus on in the activity, and that's going to catch up with you in a very bad way when it comes to write the final report, because you'll be looking at me saying, I don't know what to write. Most often, the question I'll be posing to you to answer will be presented in the form of a warm-up, which will look like a survey on Google Forms, and then it will be followed by a class discussion of the answers that you put into the warm-up survey. Now, stage 1 is mostly an individual task. You do it on your own, oftentimes the first thing you do when you get to class, but stage 2, you will be getting into groups. In these groups, you will then design a method if one isn't given to you, and begin to collect data. Data is facts and statistics collected together to refer to or to analyze. While this does include research and sometimes video notes, this also includes the observations you make and results of the lab or activity you participate in. So take good notes of what's going on, because stage 2 is going to be one of the more time-consuming stages of the 8. Not all stages are equal in time. Stage 1 is a super short one. Stage 2 could be all day, sometimes multiple days, depending on the type of experiment, the type of investigation that we are engaged in. Now, once you've collected all your results, once your activity is done, you'll begin stage 3, which is to analyze your data, look at your research, and develop a rough draft argument to share with the class and with the teacher. Once the teacher says that time is up, then you will begin stage 4, where each group will choose a speaker to share with the class your argument and why you think it is correct. Now, a real scientist may do this in groups just like you are going to, or they might just send their results, send their data to other scientists. There's a lot of ways that scientists will share their data to have it picked apart. And that is something that will be hard for some of you, is you don't like to take criticism. You don't want to put yourself out there to be judged, but you need to in this class and in life, because that is how you get to truth. Scientists, as hard as it is to put yourself out there for everyone to criticize, is the only way they will learn if they messed up, if they believe something that's actually not true. And finding truth is the goal. The goal is not necessarily to win arguments, although the more truth you have, the more that will happen, but to find truth. And if that means you have to lose some arguments, if that means you have to rewrite some ideas and your argument because others have told you it's not strong enough, then that's a good thing. That doesn't mean you're dumb. That doesn't mean you're not very good at science. That means that's just how the system works, and you're closer to the truth now, which is how you get the grade. Now, I keep saying the word argument. What is an argument? An argument is a conclusion, an explanation, sometimes it's a model, or other answer to a research question, the question that I've either given to you or sometimes you've created for yourself. But you can't just present your argument. Most of you, whether you realize it or not, are fairly good at giving arguments. An answer, a conclusion, a reason, an explanation. The hard part is providing evidence. Evidence is the data or findings from other studies that have been collected, analyzed, and interpreted in a way that allows for an evaluation of the argument, meaning should the argument be believed or not? That is what your evidence is supposed to be doing, listing the reasons why your argument is true. And finally, your justification of evidence. So your evidence is just a list of things that you found that are relevant to the question. The justification of evidence is your statement that explains the importance of the evidence by making clear what scientific concepts, theories, or ideas are related to the evidence, but they're not spelled out in your results. This is where you're kind of explaining why this evidence helps support the argument and what you've learned from the evidence. What does the evidence actually teach us about something that is true? On your note sheets, you will see some examples of what a good argument, a good evidence, and a good justification of evidence looks like. We'll be talking about that a little bit more in class. So for now, let's go ahead and move on to stage 5. Stage 5 happens after everyone has already presented their arguments, their evidence, their justification of evidence, and the teacher then leads a classroom discussion reviewing everyone's data, facts, arguments. If the teacher feels it is necessary to gather more data, or if the teacher feels that the current data was poorly analyzed, as in low quality of effort here, then groups will be given additional time to revise their arguments before repeating stages 4 and going on to stage 5. Before continuing on to stage 6, individuals must complete a peer review reflection of the assignment. Now, yes, you're probably thinking, is this really what scientists do? Kinda not. Stage 1 through 4, pretty much yes. Stage 5, in a way, but not really. Stage 5 is something I put in to make sure you guys are on the right track because you are so new to this and it is easy to go in the wrong direction on accident. So stage 5 is in there for your protection to make sure that you are getting the help you need and make sure you're on the right track. So once you've completed your peer review reflection to finish stage 5, you will begin stage 6. Stage 6 is where as individuals, remember, stages 2 through 5 has been mostly as groups with just a little bit of individual work. Stage 6 is when you start writing up your investigation report. You've done your lab, you've collected your data, you've discussed it in your groups. It's time to create the final model, the final write-up, or whatever other method that has been assigned to you for proving your argument assigned by the teacher. The teacher at this point will offer very little feedback as to, are you saying the right things? Is your assignment passing? Is it not passing? Because this substitutes having a test. So at this part, it is kind of a quiet activity, although I will be going around and checking how you're doing to make sure you're kind of on the right track. If you have questions for me, like, I'm not sure how to word this, what's the spelling for this, and other types of writing questions and how to make it sound clear and concise, those are good questions to have. But other than that, you're kind of on your own. Although, again, I will be checking what you're doing, I will be seeing what you're creating, what you're writing, and you will just have to trust that I'm not going to let you just go off the deep end. But this is not the time to write 2 sentences, go, Joseph, can you check it? 2 more sentences, Joseph, can you check it? 2 more sentences, Joseph, can you check it? I don't have time to do that for an entire class. So once we get to stage 6, you're mostly on your own. Stage 7, you've completed your write-up or your model or whatever assessment I've assigned to you to complete, and it's time for the peer review. This is your last chance to get constructive feedback. Have other students actually check your work, not for grammar, spelling, that kind of thing, but for, is my science good? Is my evidence strong? And there are 3 things that you'll be looking for. Is your evidence relevant? Is your evidence sufficient? That means, is there enough of it? And is it convincing enough to support your argument? And if it's not, then what can you do about it? Your peers will tell you what you can do about it before you give it to your teacher, because once you've submitted it to your teacher, now you're getting your final grade. This is why you want to put a lot of effort into the peer review. Help each other get a passing grade, because once you've submitted your assignment, if your grade is not passing, you're pretty much guaranteed to need to come in for extra time to be able to get a passing grade and earn the unit. And that's what stage 8 is. Stage 8 is the quickest stage. Hit the turn in button and give me your work, and your lab, your activity, your investigation is concluded. At that point, you will have a strong argument supported by plenty of strong evidence that will be very convincing to me and to everybody else that you are right and that you have won the argument. And that's it for this video. If you have any questions, please ask me in class. Thank you.
Life too unpredictable, take control of